Hello and welcome to me, to another Spelunky of the daily Let's Play challenge playthroughs. It's not a Let's Play, it is a Let's Play. I don't know what a Let's Play is. I haven't done one of these for a while because of life and other things that happen, and so there are going to be some empty days. The last one I did, look, actually that's interesting that of the people who did it, I still came in the middle. Interesting that, yes, evidently some disasters happened to some people. I'd like to see those. Maybe I can find those videos. Anyway, it's the last day of September, which is the 30th of September. So let's go back and see what's been happening. The only important thing is to beat Coccyx, which looks like it will be so easy, although no one seems to have got terribly far, so maybe there's something horrible in this. So we'll see. A couple of things I should point out. I'm terribly ill. I've got a cold. It's actually not a very bad cold at all, but I've also done something to my shoulder and arm, and I occasionally can't feel my left arm. So playing is going to be a lot of fun because that's all of the keys. I don't think it's really very serious. I think it's some kind of muscle thing. But on with the Let's Play challenge, which is, it's great. It's just watching me navigate menus. This is amazing, isn't it? Play the game, that one. Today's topic is one that I feel a little bit embarrassed that I've made a topic of, because this next batch of 10 videos are videos about things that matter a bit more to me than other stuff. And as you'll see, the topic I selected was The West Wing, which is, my frame rate's quite bad and I don't know why. The West Wing, the TV show, which is a TV show that hasn't been around for a while, and it was big like 15 years ago, or 14 years ago pretty much. And a lot of other TV shows have come and gone since then, which I think were, whip properly, which many people were maybe more excited about, or have been more excited about since. But let's not forget that probably The West Wing and The Sopranos were two of the series that really kicked off just trying to avoid this sort of arrow trap down there. I'm sure I can, there we go. Isn't that great? Were two TV shows that I think kicked off the American TV revival that we've enjoyed, that has been about TV. Can you tell I'm not with it? Because I can tell. And I have to admit, I've never seen The Sopranos, and I think I saw a bit of an episode once, and I think a little while ago after that 24 happened, and that was also another pretty high profile TV show. I watched a bit of it and it was a bit silly, and I think the ones that followed it became increasingly silly. And I don't generally go for silly TV, and this is what put me off a lot of TV beforehand, and why The West Wing was such a big deal to me, which hopefully I'll get across as I talk about it. It wasn't very silly, I felt, in many ways. I thought it was actually remarkably intelligent and remarkably smart. And important enough so that there's no money there. What an awful level. Important enough that yes, I feel I should talk about it, and it's actually maybe been a bit of an influence on my life. I'm going to have to put a bomb here if I want to get in here, aren't I? But it looks like I'll be able to get the key in the chest fairly easily, so that's good. And there's ooh. Well, that's alright, I'll take that. This level's looking up. I'll tell you first of all how I first came across The West Wing, which is I used to have worst taste in TV. We used to watch TV a lot when I was young, or younger, and yeah, when I was young, and I feel like I spent far too much of my time in my life watching bad TV. I've just got my Twitter client bleeping at me. My Twitter client isn't a person, it's, it's just a thing that tracks Twitter. Also, yeah, I've obviously taken some drugs for my cold, so clearly I'm not with it. And I regret watching a lot of bad TV. because I could have spent that time doing other stuff. I could have just read more books, maybe, for a start. And some of the bad TV that I watched when I was younger, and then even into my teens, which is when The West Wing appeared, was when I was, I think, 19, included just all the Star Trek. And there's some really good Star Trek, but there's some not so great Star Trek. And the Star Trek that I'm afraid I don't think isn't so great is Star Trek Voyager, which was on TV a lot at that kind of time as well. Oops. And the thing with Star Trek Voyager is what they had was they had a really good cast and really interesting characters, and then they just didn't give them anything good to do. So it just became horror. But because I'd not watched that much good TV, because I didn't know about good TV, and I didn't watch all the good 80s TV things like Edge of Darkness or Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy or House of Cards, anything like this. I didn't watch this stuff till I was older. I was actually quite content watching a bunch of garbage, because it was, you know, all the shotgun. It was all that I knew about. So I used to record Voyager quite regularly. And then come home and watch Voyager, and oh, there's already a ghost. I really want to sacrifice this guy though, because he's going to be worth a few points. Alright, that was a bit well, can I, yeah, I can probably do this if I can crawl around over the ghost. It goes very slow today. No, I can't be bothered. It's just, no, let's get a good score. It's great. I've done 2 levels. You've learnt nothing about the West Wing. It's amazing. Voyager was largely rubbish. I'm sorry, but it was. It was largely rubbish, and it was wasted actors and a wasted plot idea. And I used to record it, and what was on the TV after Voyager was the West Wing, and obviously VHS tapes. Once you start them, they keep going. And so, hey. So when I played these tapes back, one of them had the pilot of the West Wing afterwards, I think. And so I watched that, because I guess I wasn't doing anything else with my time. I'll be quite honest with you, I just did not understand it. I didn't know what was going on, because it was too fast. And it might be actually that some of the opening episodes are, I'm sure they're not as engaging as they could be, and they are perhaps not written as well as even episodes 3 and 4. So I watched the show and I found it first of all remarkably different and too fast, and perhaps a little too, what's the word, there was a failure of connection in there somewhere. You know what, if you're going to get repeatedly poisoned by a snake, that's fine by me. But I don't know if the frequency of your movements is going to line up with that. I don't want to drop a bomb in case the snake ends up doing my work for me. It's not going to happen, is it? Yeah, there was a little bit of a human disconnection at first. But I was fascinated by this show that actually lots of stuff is written this way, of course. But I hadn't seen a lot of this stuff. But I was fascinated by this show that basically had no interest in patronising me. Or so it seemed to me. Things happened, whether I understood them or not. And elements and characters. Oh, he's got his gun back. Okay, alright, this is a thing. Oh, that was incredibly lucky. I kind of have a sort of vague idea of where people are going to be when they start going nuts with guns, but I always surprise myself with just how lucky I actually am. Go through there, don't get the gun. Because we know I'm going to try and pick it up and die. Things just happened. Something would happen in the start of an episode. People would be talking about a situation or a character or something. and it would be explained maybe 10 or 15 minutes later on. So stuff appeared and you didn't know what it meant, and the show didn't care that you didn't know what it meant at first, because it was going to turn up later in the plot. And I thought that was amazing, that you didn't introduce things and you know, remove all subtlety or nuance, or, you know, you didn't introduce things and instantly have to explain them. Oh, Jesus. Jesus! It's too tiring. Yeah, I just thought, wow, isn't that amazing? And this is good because I'm really drawing out this topic. I keep forgetting. Oh no! Just use the whip on them. Just when I press the whip button, what you do is you use the whip. Although, yep, admittedly my frame rate's having problems, so maybe the whole game is having problems. I tell you what is really having problems, and that's me. What happened to the golden idol? Did it get run over? Or did I just forget about it? This is, without doubt, the worst Spelunky Daily Challenge I've ever done. This is a disaster in terms of topic and what I'm doing and everything. I tell you, I've just had the busiest weekend. I can tell you all about that, but I won't, because I'll instead tell you about the West Wing. And what also happened very quickly as well, I think, is I gained a realisation that there was a lot in the characters, and it was gradually going to come out, I guess. But it was already there, and the show had I don't think it had very much interest in explaining all these things to me. They were there, and I would discover them sooner or later. And characters were clearly referring to, you know, relationships were already very established between many of these characters in the show, and I would have to find out why later on. Which again was initially an amazing thing to me, but actually in terms of writing it makes perfect sense, and it's not a revolutionary thing at all. It's just how stuff is. Let's just go through there. I've got no ambition today. My ambition is to record this thing and still be alive as a human being by the time it's finished, and maybe have described a little bit about the West Wing to you. Oh, heavens. Oh, I've got 2 hearts though. I thought I only had 1, but obviously I've just been licked by a dog, which medical science will tell you is a thing that does something. Who's texting me at this time? Why would you text me at this time? Shall I read that? I don't think now is really that. Ooh. Ah, yeah. Yeah, you don't like that, do you, stupid... Oh, spike shoes. He's not alive. No, don't do that. So the West Wing. And the West Wing existed. I should talk a lot more about the pace of the show, because Aaron Sorkin is now obviously a lot more famous than he previously was. He'd done a show before the West Wing called Sports Night, which in some ways is similar in terms of pacing and topics and digressions. Oh Lord. I don't think we'll just hope that guy stays in his shop having a fit. And Sports Night was a similar kind of... Sports Night started kind of like a comedy with a laugh track. And it lost that after a while, thank heavens, because it wasn't quite appropriate. And Sports Night wasn't trying to be funny all the time. Sometimes it was just trying to make a point or be dry, and it didn't need you to burst out laughing at it, and it didn't need a laugh track. Okay, let's go through here. It's just got people tweeting at me now. Everyone should be in bed, except me, because I don't do that sort of thing anymore. I don't do beds. The West Wing, yeah, I should add, the West Wing had a lot of, I suppose, dry humour, and occasionally outright slapstick, which is an interesting combination of of the subtle and the very, very blatant, and even the almost the laziest sort of jokes whereby someone says, "Wouldn't it be awful if that happened?" And people go, "Yeah," and then it immediately happens, which is just requires absolutely no real thought in writing, but can be good, and depending on acting and directing, can actually be a lovely thing to have happen. But you know, it's an interesting contrast to a lot of the other stuff that happened in the show, which was, as I say, drier and often very intelligent and very wordy. So yes, that's where I was going. Aaron Sorkin and words were things that people got much more of an idea of in The West Wing than they previously did with Sports Night. Aaron Sorkin is wordy, and The West Wing is wordy in terms of there is a lot of dialogue and it can be delivered very quickly. And this relates to the earlier point I made about not knowing what's going on. People are talking a lot about stuff that they already know about. And they've got no interest in explaining it to you, the viewer, because you, the viewer, don't exist, because you're not in the show, so they don't need to explain stuff to you. They already know what they're talking about between themselves. Yeah, you know what? You're dead. I'm not. I've got a dog. Now I've got a shotgun. That's a scenario that never happened in The West Wing, but it makes me happy. Look at this. Look at all those jewels. Look at how much money I have. I've got to have done better than Matthew Cox, who's decided that he's going to call himself The West Wing. And this, what I need to get across first of all is how it was a revolution to me that this show had no interest in patronising me, and that it had such a different kind of pace and attitude to telling a story. And I also need to get across. Oh. Can I do this? Just put it on there. See what happens. Right now, what's happened is everybody is tweeting me, and I'm not even sure what. Oh, it's about gifts. I mean that's fine. That's actually quite important. And I should never have complained. And, ooh, there's a chap with a thing, but I don't really want one of those because I've got a shotgun. I hate frogs. And everything. Yep, so where were we? Oh, why have I done that? Oh, come on! That's ridiculous. So just, you know, the West Wing is a thing and the actors are good. And stuff happens, and sometimes it's subtle and sometimes it's not subtle. And what I didn't get to talk about at all was the values of it, and just some of the one-line philosophies that actually I thought were incredibly important. Characters who, as we see now in lots of TV shows that are very established, characters that develop over a season, over nearly, you know, like maybe 20 hours of storytelling, which is very different to what happens in a film. I'm very happy that I'm top of that table, because I've actually not enjoyed this daily challenge at all. I felt awful, and I felt confused, and I haven't articulated how many of the left-leaning concepts in The West Wing I thought were fantastic. I don't actually think... I think Aaron Sorkin is maybe a better feminist than he used to be. The West Wing has some great woman characters, but it also has some points where women are a bit too much of the butt of a joke, and sometimes it's fine because it can also happen to male characters, but I feel sometimes it gets just a little bit tiring, or it's a little bit inappropriate, and so I find that a tiny bit troubling. It's not something that worries me a lot. The funny thing is, I don't feel that happens so much in Sports Night, which is his previous show. He's done some other things. Obviously, he's done films, and he's done. But you can Google that. So I hope if you watch The West Wing, you have fun with some political concepts and ideas, and some good, well-reasoned, wordy debates and pace. I'm not going to do that now, because I honestly feel as if I've actually really been hit in the face by a boomerang and was stunned and have woken up in Holland, but just with, you know, with about 50% of my clothes missing. That's how I feel right now. So I hope you have a lovely time, whatever you're doing, and I'll the great thing is, people will think I'll have played for longer, because I can extend these videos, I've discovered, by playing in the menu and wiggling my mouse about and just talking until you've had enough. Bye!